Imagine this, a city-wide blackout, plunging your world into darkness. The hum of electricity that you've taken for granted all your life is suddenly, eerily absent. Streetlights blink out, homes fall into shadow, and the city, your city, is swallowed by an inky void. As the electric heartbeat of the city flatlines, the initial reactions from its citizens are as varied as they are unpredictable. Some remain calm, their minds working overtime to make sense of the situation and devise a plan. Others panic, their fear palpable as they scramble to find safety in the sudden and unfamiliar darkness. But amidst this spectrum of reactions, there's a common thread, an undercurrent of unease, a sense that things are about to get a whole lot worse. In the ensuing chaos, it's easy to forget that the most significant threats often come not from the situation itself, but from the people caught within it. Yes, the blackout is dangerous, yes, it's terrifying, but it's the people who can truly make or break your survival. And so we arrive at the crux of our discussion today. The dangerous individuals that a crisis situation can bring to the forefront. The ones who, when pushed to their limits, respond not with compassion or reason but with violence and ruthlessness. The ones who see not a city in crisis but a city ripe for exploitation. In the world of survival and preparedness, we often talk about the importance of knowing your environment, of understanding the potential threats and challenges you might face. But we must also turn that lens onto the people around us, for in the aftermath of a disaster, it's not just the elements we must contend with, but also the darker side of human nature. As the city descends into chaos, three types of dangerous individuals emerge: those who feel they have nothing to lose, experienced violent individuals, and unsuspecting predators. Recognizing and understanding these individuals could be the line between life and death in a crisis situation. First, we encounter those who believe they have nothing to lose. Picture this: a man who has always lived a law-abiding life suddenly finds himself in a dire situation. His job is gone, his savings depleted, and his family is on the brink of starvation. The societal structure that once provided security has collapsed, and there's no help in sight. This man, like many others in a crisis, feels he has nothing left to lose. The fear and desperation etched in his face mirror the turmoil within. His choices are limited and grim: either sit back and watch his loved ones suffer, or resort to desperate measures to ensure their survival. For such individuals, the line between right and wrong blurs, and they may find themselves making choices they never thought possible. This is where the danger lies. Those with nothing to lose are unpredictable, willing to take extreme risks, and can pose a significant threat to others. They're driven by desperation, not malice, but the end result can be just as harmful. Consider the man we just talked about. Driven by the urge to feed his family, he might resort to theft. He might break into a house, believing it to be abandoned, only to encounter its occupants. In his desperation, he might react violently, leading to tragic consequences. These individuals aren't inherently bad or dangerous. They're ordinary people, like you and me, pushed to the edge by circumstances beyond their control. But that's what makes them so dangerous. Their actions are born out of desperation, making them unpredictable and volatile. It's crucial to remember that anyone can become this person when pushed to their limits. Understanding this can help us empathize, but it should also make us cautious. In a crisis, it's essential to be aware of those around you who may be teetering on the edge of desperation. Recognize the signs: heightened anxiety, restlessness, erratic behavior. Keep your distance, but also, if possible, extend a hand. Remember, today it might be them, tomorrow it could be you. Desperation can drive anyone to become a danger to others. Next, we meet those who are no strangers to violence. This group represents individuals who have a history of violent behavior. In times of crisis, they may view the situation as a golden opportunity to take advantage of the chaos. They are experienced in inflicting harm and, unfortunately, a societal collapse can provide them with the perfect platform to escalate their actions. Consider this scenario. Imagine a person who, prior to the crisis, was already living on the edge of legality. Let's call this individual, for the sake of our discussion, Jack. Jack had a history of violent tendencies and run-ins with the law. In the midst of societal order, he was somewhat restrained by the threat of legal consequences. But when the law and order crumbled, Jack saw an opportunity. Without the fear of repercussions, Jack's violent tendencies escalated. He began to exploit the vulnerable, using intimidation and violence to seize control. He became a significant threat to those around him, particularly to individuals who were unprepared to handle such aggression. This is a grim picture, but it's a potential reality in a crisis situation. It's crucial to understand that these individuals like Jack are not the majority, but their impact can be far-reaching and devastating. Their actions can disrupt the fragile balance of a community struggling to survive in a post-collapse environment. The key to dealing with individuals like Jack is to maintain a strong united front. They thrive on fear and disunity. By sticking together, supporting each other, and having a plan in place, communities can deter such individuals and protect their members. But remember, prevention is better than cure. Being aware of such individuals in your community, understanding their behaviors, and having a plan on how to deal with them can significantly reduce the risk they pose. These individuals pose a great threat, but there is one more group to be wary of. Let's move on to the next scene and discuss the unsuspecting predators that may lurk within your midst. Finally, we come face to face with the most dangerous of them all, the unsuspecting predators. These are the individuals who you'd least expect to transform into a threat during crisis situations, yet they can turn out to be the most dangerous. Picture this. Your friendly next-door neighbor who you've shared countless barbecues with could morph into an opportunist exploiting the situation for personal gain. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? These unsuspecting predators are not inherently malicious. In fact, they are often the kindest, most helpful people under normal circumstances. But in a crisis, as resources become scarce and survival instincts kick in, they could become your worst nightmare. They might hoard supplies, manipulate others, or even resort to violence to ensure their survival. And their unsuspecting demeanor makes them even more dangerous. You would never see it coming until it's too late. The friendly neighbor scenario is just one example. These predators could be anyone, your coworker, your child's school teacher, even a family member. They are not the stereotypical villains we see in movies. They are ordinary people, just like us, pushed to their limits by extraordinary circumstances. Remember, in a crisis, the rules of society can quickly break down. The norms that govern our behavior today might not hold any water tomorrow. People's true colors often shine through when they're under pressure, and it's not always a pretty sight. So how do you deal with these unsuspecting predators? The key is to stay vigilant and not let your guard down, no matter how well you think you know someone. Trust, but verify. Keep an eye out for any signs of manipulative or selfish behavior. And if you do spot these signs, don't hesitate to distance yourself from the individual. Your survival could depend on it. These predators, hidden in plain sight, are the most dangerous of all. They remind us that in a crisis, the biggest threats can come from the most unexpected places. But with knowledge, vigilance, and a healthy dose of skepticism, you can protect yourself and your loved ones from these hidden dangers. Now that we know who to watch out for, how do we prepare ourselves? Excellent question. Let's delve into the strategies for reading people in crisis and managing resources effectively. In a crisis situation, reading people becomes an essential survival skill. It's not about judging or profiling, but about observing and understanding. Watch for signs of anxiety, desperation, or aggression. These could be verbal cues like threats or boasting, or nonverbal cues like pacing, clenched fists, or an intense stare. Remember, these signs may not mean someone's dangerous, but they could indicate that a person is under stress and may act unpredictably. Another key is empathy. Understanding the emotional state of those around you can help predict their actions. Are they scared, angry, or desperate? These emotions can drive people to act out of character. Being empathetic doesn't mean you let your guard down. It means you're better equipped to anticipate their actions. Now let's talk about managing resources. In a high-tension environment, resources become incredibly valuable. Food, water, medical supplies, even information can be the difference between survival and disaster. But how do you manage these resources effectively? First, take stock of what you have. Knowing your inventory can help you plan and prioritize. Next, ration your supplies. It might be tempting to indulge when you have plenty, but in a crisis, you never know how long your resources need to last. Lastly, consider your options for replenishment. Can you hunt, fish, or forage? Are there nearby sources of clean water? Are there other survivors you can trade with? In the end, it's about staying vigilant and prepared. It's about understanding the people around you and the resources at your disposal. It's not just about surviving the crisis, but thriving in the aftermath. Remember, knowledge is your best defense. Stay safe, stay prepared.